I've made the decision not to go to PAX South, and here's why. So I've been to three PAXs, and the first one happened to be when I was going through a rough time and had fallen in with an online group kind of for support and friendship. And they were like, hey, we're going to PAX East, you should come. And I made that happen. Somehow I scraped together the money and I met up with them at PAX East, and it was great. I loved meeting them for the first time, and I was, kind of really excited for the whole experience. I worked that experience up in my mind. And so at the end of the weekend, I was like, I didn't really like that. I got so overwhelmed that I thought I wasn't spending my time there correctly. I thought that I didn't utilize my time at PAX enough to really live up to this glorious weekend in my mind. So I was like, you know what? Next time I'll do it better. And so I went to PAX South, which is really beautiful down there. Like that was like a huge bump up just off the start. But what I did is I inflated my role in it this time. I rented a car, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna chauffeur people back and forth from the airport because you know what? I'll be that guy. And I ended up parking wrong and getting that car impounded and having to dump a whole bunch more money to get it out because my credit rating wasn't as bad enough as it is. And you know what? I picked up and dropped off like three people. I spent like $600 so that these guys didn't have to pay for an Uber. And so when the second one ended, I was like, geez, I really messed up again. I was overwhelmed. I was nervous. I didn't feel like I had a good time, so I must be doing something wrong because everybody else had a great time, you know? And so it was kind of the third one where I struck a better balance. I was like, hey, you know what? My group wants to go out and have drinks, and I don't really want to. So I'm going to go play these board games with strangers. And that's what I did, and I had fun. Now, I'm the kind of person who likes to stay home and play video games. That's like what I love doing. And recently, I've gotten to do that a lot less. I've had to work a lot to be able to afford to live where I live and also afford luxuries for like eating out or buying video games. And so it's partly a money problem and partly what I want to do with my time problem. So, like, I don't know if that's me becoming a boring adult, that, like, hey, this huge, exciting thing that everybody loves doesn't really jive with me. And you think it would because, like, I love video games, and here's this huge video game convention. Hey, let's cram all these AAA titles, and, like, indie developers are really passionate about what they're doing. And that's like the part I really enjoyed about it is like getting to like listen one-on-one with this guy or girl who's like, hey, this is what we've been working on, and like play it, and it's like, oh man, this is actually good and cool. I'm glad I got to see this before it like went out on the shelves. But at the end of the day, it's the sort of thing where when I first started going to these, I didn't really have as close friends as I do now. And these are nerdy friends who like to get together and play board games and video games. And even though they don't like to play video games as much as I do, it's still, I have friends in a physical space that I can do that with. But the hard part of that realization and that decision is that I'm not going to be able to see my online friends. And so you have to look at that person and say, I have decided to spend my time in a way that doesn't involve you. That's a tough thing to say. But, like, I still love them. Like, they're still my friends. It's just that at this point in my life, I don't like going to PAX. I think that's the bottom line of it. And I guess I made this video to verbalize this stuff, to finally like admit to myself that it's okay that I don't like going and I don't like spending the money. And so I guess if you're watching this and there's something that you think you should like and you keep trying to like it and you're like, well, why don't I like it? I must be doing it wrong. it could just be that it's not for you. You know, if you're reading a book and you get partway through and you're like, I don't really like this book, unless you're in school, no one's making you finish that book. You can just close the book and walk away and find a book that you do like to read. So, you know, just decide to spend your time how you want to spend your time. That is not to say you should be a hermit and never see your friends, because that is also something I've fallen into. And you know, if they're your friends, there's a reason for that, because they like you and they want to see you. Anyway, so I'll see you next time. I'm gonna go play some video games.